Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to this bonus round episode of the Video Gamers Podcast. On this incredible episode, we're doing the impossible and breaking down our individual lists of the top 5 funnest games to play. That's right, not the most memorable, not the best story, not the best of a genre, just pure, simple fun. What games get you smiling and despite graphics or anything else are just an absolute blast to play? Well, we're going to break it down for you. But first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he's like a mix of the glory days of Halo multiplayer and 4-player split-screen GoldenEye all in one. It's Ryan.
I am. I'm that like millennial hybrid, man. I got the
Yeah.
old school in me. I played an Atari. I remember playing Pong, but I had all the good new stuff when I was, at that youthful age. So, maybe
you're like that.
born at the
you're
best
like
time.
That mix.
Yeah.
I'm the old guy where it's like I remember playing Pong.
Yeah.
But it's like you know that GoldenEye was a great game.
Oh,
But you probably played more Halo than you did GoldenEye too.
this is true. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, dude, Ryan, I am super pumped for this episode. We love doing these kind of top 5 lists for people. And, we kind of had the idea. We've done, our top 5 role-playing games, our top 5 first-person shooters and things like that. And maybe this comes off the heels of playing Astrobot, but we were like, what if we just do fun, man?
Yeah,
like,
that's
what
what's
if we
fun.
just talk about games that are fun, And then we kind of both went, that sounds like a good time.
Let's do it.
So let me ask you, did you have a hard time coming up with your list?
I had a hard time narrowing it down. I will say that.
I have about 12 games sitting in front of me right now, and I keep juggling like number 4 and number 5 off the list and back onto the list and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting, that's for sure. We did want to start the episode with a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, we have a new supporter that signed up over at multiplayersquad.com. A huge shout out to, and I love this name, Dingus Khan, who signed up for Rare. So Dingus, thank you for supporting the show. Also hopped into our Discord server right away, said hi, and has been chatting with people as well. So love to see that. And then, hey, if you want to help this podcast, if you've been a listener for a while and you are, coming back time and time again for these episodes, or maybe this is your first episode and you're tuning in, go ahead and follow us on your podcast app. It's always a little bit different. I think on Apple, it's like a plus. On Spotify, it's a follow. Whatever app you use, there is a button that says, hey, I want more from these guys. I want these episodes. So make sure you do that. And you can also leave us a 5-star review as well. And if you want to be like Dingus and support this podcast, you can head over to multiplayersquad.com and sign up for as little as $5 a month. And it goes a long way in helping Ryan and I do what we do and keep this podcast going.
Yeah, and I will say, real quick, dingus is probably one of my favorite words ever to use, and I use it regularly.
Dude, we call our dogs when our dogs are being dumb, or our cats
dingus.
for that matter.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. And we're like, dude, why are you being a dingus right now?
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, man. That's funny. So, All right, Ryan, we're just going to jump into this because I am excited to talk about some fun video games. Now, I do want to preface this by saying these are our personal opinions. This is not us trying to come up with like the top 5 of all time or anything like that. So you are definitely going to get a glimpse into the type of gamers that we are. And I get it. This is intended to maybe make you go, what? Like, that game's not that fun.
They forgot about this one. What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what? That's kind of the point. Everybody's going to have different, things that really stand out to them. But, that's kind of the fun of it. So if you disagree, that's awesome. Hop in our Discord server. Tell us how stupid we are or how much you agree with me and how dumb Ryan's game takes are. We love seeing that stuff. So, all right, Ryan, let's talk about the lists here for a second. Then we'll get into our first pick here. When you are looking at a game and you are saying, hey, what makes a game fun to me, right? We decided we're just going for sheer, pure fun of the gameplay of the game. Games that maybe stood out to us. Maybe it was games with friends, in those moments that stood out in that regard. But how did you approach this?
This was the mostly of when I thought about like what were the most powerful gaming moments to me where I just was, like you said with Astrobot, pure joy. Where did I remember that? First thing that came to my mind with what game, where was I, that type of thing. And I made my list based off that. What memories popped right into my head immediately of my kind of, career, if you will, of gaming, over my lifespan. And that's the way I made my list.
That was the first thing that came to mind for me as well. But then I kind of went, you know what? People probably don't want to hear me talk about EverQuest again. Yeah. And you're doing like the high-end raids on EverQuest, and it's like, there is the nostalgia factor when you think about fun, right? Like I mentioned GoldenEye at the top of the episode, when we did the intro for you. GoldenEye was an absolute blast, but there's a lot of people out there right now that don't know the golden age of GoldenEye. Uh-huh. And so what I tried to do with my list was keep it a little bit more modern and a little bit more current. That's kind of hard.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, especially for us seasoned gamers, it was definitely difficult for me to not go back to the past and think about when I was in college and me and my buddies would all get together at my one buddy's, because he had his own house at that point. It was his parents' house, right? But it was like he got to live there.
Yeah.
And so when you had that friend that's like, dude, he's got his own place. We can go over there. We can all hang out. We can play games till the wee hours of the morning. Like, those memories definitely stand out to me, but I try to consciously stay away from like the nostalgia trap on these and go like, what games would I just sit and play for hours on end with a grin on my face and just absolutely having a blast for? So that's kind of how I approached mine. Why don't you start us off, Ryan? I'm very curious. I don't know. I will say that my list is in no particular order. It's really impossible for me to say this game is like number one. So when we do a top 5, at least for me, it is like, these are just the top games.
Yeah, this is all kind of the mashup up here for sure. Yeah, I mean, mine, same thing, no particular order. But what I'm going to start out with is a game that, it is fairly new, I guess. In its release, it's the most recent release of this game. It may have been a while, but it is newish. What do you want to do? What does everybody want to do? They want to break the law. And where can you go and just break the law with no ramifications in the real world? You can go play Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Right?
GTA 5.
GTA 5, baby. What? I mean, like, I had to come out of the gate, take this one before you snatched it up, and just say, what's better than just logging in, playing as any of the characters, or even going online, doing heists, robbing banks, stealing cars, racing, parachuting. Like, you could fly jets, you can do everything in this game. There's just limitless, fun to be had, and it's just one of the funnest games I've ever kind of just pure joy type game.
I love GTA 5. To me, stands out because of the amount of different things that you can do.
Yeah.
That's the kicker for me, is it's like sometimes I would just steal a car and then just cruise around the outside of the map, like on the highways, and actually like not just crash into people, like actually just highway driving.
Yep.
You know, and like, I don't know why, but that was like so cathartic at the time. But then other times it's like, I would just be a murderous jerk and just be inner city, just plowing people down, crashing into cars, like jump out of one car, carjack somebody out of another car, like get out.
Yeah.
And that was fun too, man.
Dude, I was golfing. I would go and I'd have like regular golf rounds. I'd go to the, you know, the fancy area and go play golf round as Franklin or whatever. And it was just like, why am I doing this? But I was just enjoyed it. It was just so much fun. No matter what you did, it was just pure joy.
Yeah, I love that pick. Sandbox games for me, I sometimes get lost in, and I kind of go like, there's so many things to do that I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But GTA 5 is one of those exceptions where you could do anything, man.
Yep.
And that definitely lent itself to some good times. Fantastic pick. I'm gonna go a slightly different route, and this is a game that people that have been listening for a while know I absolutely love. It is the game that I have the most playtime in as well. For me and people that like this game, and I get that this game is not for everybody, but this game to me is probably the most pure fun I have had from a game due to its mechanics, due to the competitive nature, due to just how polished this game is. The ceiling in this game is infinite, in my opinion, so you always have something to kind of strive for. And that game is Rocket League.
Oh.
I remember when Rocket League came out, that it was getting a ton of hype and people were saying it's soccer with race cars, and I thought that sounded absurd. And I remember going like, I'm seeing so much hype about this game. I picked it up. I played it. I did the little like, oh yeah, the driving's good. You hit the ball. The first time that you score a goal and it does the goal explosion and your car just goes flying across the map. And it's like, this is like the most spectacular thing ever. Something in my brain just triggered like this massive dopamine hit. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And I remember instantly texting Paul and Andy like right away. And I said, dude, I've been playing this game for 15 minutes. It might be one of the funnest games I have ever played. You guys need to get this. We need to play it together. And like good friends do, they both went, I'm in.
Yeah.
And like 30 minutes later, the three of us were driving around trying to figure out how to play Rocket League. And Andy and I stuck with it. Paul played it for quite a while and then kindly, just fell off at that point. But Rocket League to me is some of the most fun that I've ever had in a video game. Andy, I mean, we've done tournaments. I have gotten up to champion rank in that game. I cannot think of a like more just pure fun. Like that's the point of this episode, right? But for me, that competition, the first time you do an aerial where you start to learn that you can fly and hit the ball while it's in the air. And like I said, the goal explosions, the come from behind wins with 20 seconds left and you need 2 goals and it seems like an impossibility. And then you pull it off with 0 seconds on the clock and you lose your mind. I freaking love it. Yes, it is. No other game has made me just cheer and fist bump, and like my family knows when I'm playing Rocket League because I am screaming and yelling.
The neighborhood knows,
such
probably.
A blast. Yeah, it is so good, dude. No other game like it, in my opinion.
And the thing with it too is that there's layers to it. There's 2 levels. You have just playing the game, and then you have like playing the game within the game, to where, oh, cool, you scored. That's whatever. But how did you score? What did you do to score? What did it look like when you scored? And that's what I see. I have nowhere near the time that you guys have in it. To me, I think it's cool. I get why people would love it. It just didn't click with me as much as it would other people. Still had fun with it, but I can see the enjoyment that people would have. And then I see the layers within that game to where people are like doing some crazy stuff to score a goal. And you're like, oh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. The ceiling on that game, I think, is infinite, to be honest. Like I said, the pros now are so far beyond what the pros were like 2 years ago that it's pretty mind-blowing, to be honest. So, all right, what's next on your list, Ryan? What you got?
Oh, man. So I'm going to go with a very, very recent one of this year that you played with me. And
I think this might be on my list too, Ryan.
You probably do. What are you looking for? You want connection. You want a bond with your teammates, your family in the cause. And that cause is liberty, baby, because I'm going for Helldivers 2 for democracy. I haven't played a game that we had all jumped in like that and just that's all we did for like weeks and weeks and weeks on end. It's hey, you getting on? We're getting on? Yeah, absolutely. We'd all hop on. We'd play as many matches as we could before we had to, go back to the real world. And it was just, I don't remember a time that it wasn't just fun. And I wasn't laughing or screaming or anything crazy like that, as we played.
It's on my list. It's in my top 5. I agree with you 100% on this one. Did you ever play the first Helldivers? You didn't.
I did not, no.
I did not either. So it's like we had no idea what to actually expect from this game. I remember us seeing the trailers. I remember us being like, oh my goodness, here's a multiplayer game that looks like it could be an absolute blast. And I remember all of us like rushing home from work to hop into Helldivers for like the first time to be like, guys, let's do this. It's out. We can finally play. We dropped in with the drop pods, and I turned and I shot Paul instantly because, I heard there was friendly fire.
Yep.
And that is just when the antics started and they never stopped. And I cannot think of another game in recent memory that was that fun to just play with friends, dude.
Yeah.
The situations, the running from these hordes, the killing you and your stupid mortar.
Bro, the mortars, I will stand to this day. I got so many kills and very, very little team kills. You guys just freaked out whenever you did die to a mortar.
I know, but even that was part of the fun. The arguments that you and I would get in over you using the mortar and it killing me and then me getting mad at you. Helldivers 2 is one of those games, and it was one of the first ones to come to mind when we talked about this episode, where it was just an instant lock for me because there are very few games like it where I can think of playing with friends, that many different hilarious situations, diving into the dropship at the last second while you're the last guy alive and no reinforcements left and stuff like that. Absolutely fantastic game. It's funny because Helldivers 2 has kind of fallen off lately, where in the sense that it's not getting as much hype, but I think it's just, I have like 140 hours in that game, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, you put a ton in, and like we've said, if they come out with some new, enemy types and new, kind of crazy weapons, I'm sure everyone would hop right. It would take one match for us to all get sucked back in.
Literally just released a big balancing patch today, where is getting a lot of praise, and people are saying that they really fixed a lot of like the balance issues and like the anti-armor stuff for the Bile Titans, and it like the game just feels a lot more fun now, which is crazy to me because I'm like, dude, the game was already fun.
Exactly.
So we absolutely will dive back into Helldivers 2 at some point. I think it will be when they release the new alien race on that one, but I am kind of getting that itch too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was one of mine as well, Ryan. So I'll tell you what, I'll go with one real quick, and then we'll take a quick break here. I'm going to shout. I've been shouting this game to the world forever and a day. If I ever get the chance, Ryan, I am going to make you play this with me. Ooh. And yes, I have already beaten this game 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Which is insanity. But I will play it again just to play it with you and see your reaction to this game, and that is Remnant 2.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Remnant 2 was it was my favorite game from 2023. Out of all the crazy good games that came out in 2023, Remnant 2 stands above all of them for me as far as this is the game that I had the most just pure enjoyment playing. I have played it with Andy. I have played it with other friends. There's a guy that I work with that I recommended it to that is so enamored with Remnant 2. He was like, dude, I can't believe I didn't know this game existed, and it's one of my favorite games of all time now. Like, it legitimately is that fun. It is custom made for me, number one. I love the kind of looter shooter tough boss battles, almost like a Dark Souls with guns type game. The graphics are spectacular. It's polished to a level that most games aren't. The boss fights are some of the most memorable boss fights in gaming. It's the perfect challenge level. You get loot. There's secrets. I cannot tout this game enough to people. And I know that there's listeners that are like, oh, here goes Josh on his Remnant 2, monologue again. I'm going to cut it short. Trust me. Remnant 2 is so underrated that you owe it to yourself as a gamer to check this game out and pick it up and play it. It is one of the best games I think I have ever played. Like, legitimately, it's that good. And I want to cover it on this show, Ryan, because I want to put it on my leaderboard, and I want to see what you think about it, man.
Well, we'll have to get the Force a Friend back, so I don't know whose turn it is, since Paul was the last one.
It's my turn.
So, it's just your turn.
It's my turn.
Even though
yeah,
I was just picked, so I guess.
Dang it!
What? I mean, I was only picked
turn.
3 times in a row, but
yeah, that's true. It might be your turn. But yes, so that's like I said, I'll step off my Remnant 2 soapbox.
Well,
but
it is anyone that's been listening for a while knows that Josh doesn't finish video games, and for him to go and I swear, like every time he's like, oh yeah, I'm playing it with this person now. Somebody new would get on and he'd be like, yep, let's do fresh playthrough. He'd hop on, start finish to end, and play through a whole nother session of it, which blew my mind that you would play through a game not only once, but multiple times. So it must have been an all-timer for sure.
We're talking about funnest video games.
Yeah.
And when a game is that fun, I will keep playing it, because it's just that joy of the actual gameplay itself. And Remnant 2 is perfection in that regard for me. So, all right, Ryan, we're going to get to yours, but we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll see what's up next for you.
For real foodies, there's nothing better than trying that new restaurant.
I'll have the special, please.
Except returning to your tried and true fave.
Hey, the usual for you?
Especially when you can access over $400 back in dining value annually and 4 times points on restaurants when you use your Amex Gold Card. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Cap applies. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to bite into Nerds gummy clusters? They're fruity. They're tangy. They're gummy. And they're crunchy. Nerds Gummy Clusters, a union of fruity sweet gummy and tangy crunchy nerds. Unleash your senses. Shop now at nerdscandy.com.
All right, we are back. You know what? I'm having fun already, Ryan. Talking about these games is getting me amped, man. I kind of want to play Rocket League again. I kind of want to play Helldivers again.
Play some games.
Man, I could do
now.
another run of Remnant 2 right now. So, all right, what do you got? What's up next for you?
So this one may be a little bit older. A little bit of the nostalgia, but it's one of those that you just got to mention because of the amount of time you put into it, the fun with friends, the fun of just playing it overall. I'm going with Halo 3.
Oh, I was going to... There's no way we were getting through this episode without Halo getting mentioned.
Exactly.
At some point.
It's just, it's that kind of post kind of end of high school type for me where I had time and I had money and I could play games and buy, a bunch of junk food and just hang out and veg out and just have fun. And that's one of the games that really stood out to where not only does it have one of the most amazing levels that I ever remember in a game with the Warthog run, where you're driving over all the platforms as they fall. I remember I remember failing at the end on purpose to just replay it again, and we would just keep doing it just because of how much fun it was. And then just online play, multiplayer, the voice. I know we all hopped in recently on Halo and played, and just that announcer voice is just, it is in my psyche, in my brain of just, it just hits the dopamine the second you hit, multi-kill, and stuff. So
overkill.
Yeah, overkill. Annihilation,
I'll get an answer already.
I know, right?
Dude, it's funny because Halo, I didn't even know which Halo to say.
That's the hard part,
put Halo. Halo multiplayer. Even Infinite, right? Which I know that there's some criticism for Halo Infinite out there, but we had probably a month where a lot of people from our Discord server were hopping in and playing Halo Infinite together.
That was awesome, yeah.
We need to get that back.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man. It's one of those things with the big team battles, and you can have 16 people on a team, and it's so accommodating to a lot of different people. And we talk about Helldivers and Remnant 2, and it's a lot of the multiplayer games now, you get 3 people. we're playing Space Marine 2 right now, and it's like, it's a squad of 3. You got 4 friends, too bad.
Yeah.
But Halo was that game where it's like, oh, you got 16 friends? You guys all want to play together? Hop on in, man. Yeah, so they just did it right. Halo 3 also is widely considered the best of the Halo multiplayer as well. So fantastic choice on that one.
Love it.
Plus you got me thinking about that Warthog run at the end too.
I know.
That's like best gaming moment.
I want to just go play it now, yeah.
All right. This one is a little bit kind of, I think some people are going to say, whoa, I didn't expect that. Right. But I think you'll understand when I bring this up. There's an indie game that we told you about that you played with Paul and I when we were hyping this game up. I know that like Ace of Shame has jumped in this game and played it with us as well.
I think I know what it is.
And this is a game called Risk of Rain 2.
Yep.
Okay. Now, most people have said, oh yeah, I've heard of Risk of Rain. I've never really looked into it. I never played the first Risk of Rain. It was a 2D game, apparently. Risk of Rain 2 is like a 3D, sequel to that. I don't know what the secret sauce is for Risk of Rain 2, but when you play that game with a couple friends and you start getting into these like crazy builds where Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike game where the levels that you play are randomized in a certain, like, they're the same levels, but they're kind of all randomized and you don't know which world you're going to wind up popping into. And as you run around and shoot monsters, you collect these power-ups and you just try to get stronger. And the entire game is kind of on a timer, so the longer you go, the more difficult it gets. But it's one of those games where if you get the right build, you become like Super Saiyan, man. You become like the most unbelievably like destructive thing. And whereas like the initial boss is this super hard fight, by the end of the game, if you get a good run, every enemy you fight is a boss at that point, and you are just tearing through things. It is some of the most dumb fun that you can have in a game. And it's like every time I start talking about Risk of Rain 2, I want to jump back in.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have different characters that you can unlock. You have different builds that you can just, maybe you wind up putting together in a run, and you're playing with your buddies and it's chaos and it's like, oh no, I died. You got to stay alive you got to beat this level, and it lends itself to that just pure fun. Graphically speaking, it's not that impressive. I mean, I don't think
it's meant to be, it's kind of the style.
And that's the kicker, right?
Yeah.
Is it's like what it does phenomenally well. And it's funny because a lot of times we get people that say, hey, I got, what's a good game that I can play with a friend that might be something I haven't played before? And it's one of the first games that we recommend to people.
Yeah.
Because it's insanely fun to play. So again, if you have not checked out Risk of Rain 2, again, you can watch the trailers. It really doesn't do it justice, but this is a game that we will continue shouting to the world is just unbelievable, pure fun to play.
Yeah. And I again have nowhere near as much time that you guys have had on it, but from the second I got in and got through those first couple matches of figuring out, okay, you have to stack this with this and that with that, and then these are good together, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm mowing everything down now. And it doesn't get boring when you do that because it keeps throwing different kind of changes at you, but the combination of stacking those builds, and it's always random and you're never sure what you're going to get, and you're playing with your friends, and it's just utter chaos, all lines up to just be so, so perfect. It's one of those that just really hits all the marks. And so, yeah, there's no question that it should be up here on the list.
Everybody that we have introduced this game to that has played this game feels exactly the same. And that tells me that's like a universal thing. At that point.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody that's played this that's just gone like, yeah, I mean, it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
no, you play that, you're like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. All right, what's up next for you, Ryan? What you got?
So this is one that may be a little bit of surprise for you, and it's something that I've you can call me Flipper if you want. I've done a big time 180. I think you know what it is.
I'm not going to hold it against you, Ryan.
Our former host Paul will be very, very excited to hear that I genuinely think Tears of the Kingdom is just pure fun. It is one of the things with the Ultra Hand and the ability to go through the different kind of variations with the height of that game in the sky level and then underneath and then the main area. it's one of those that it's literally the sky's the limit. You can do and build anything. I still constantly see all these crazy things people are building, creating, using to just kill a few enemies or to traverse this land. It's one of those things where if you just want to veg out and just have a good time, Tears of the Kingdom is one of those games. If you're playing it in that mindset to where it's like, this is what I'm here for, like it's beyond fun.
I'm to the point where I'm not disagreeing with you guys on this one. I think because here's why. You're the example, right? We played Tears of the Kingdom. We knew we had to do the episode on it. I was trying to beat this game. Yeah. It's a big game. Number one. It's kind of hard to do and say, hey, we're going to beat the Tears of the Kingdom in 2 weeks when you have, full-time job and a family and all this other stuff too. So I do remember grinding Tears of the Kingdom, and you did the same thing, and you kind of felt very similar to me when we did the episode on it. And then you went back to it with your son, and you kind of took your time, right? And you just said, hey, we started just kind of puttering around and just experimenting and taking time and exploring. And some days we would just build these Zonai contraptions and stuff like that. And that's when you started to really say, you know what? I think I was wrong. I think this game's way better than I gave it credit for. I have not had that, like, let me play it again and just kind of take my time with it. Yeah. But I can understand it because it gives you the tools to just say, go play. Yeah. Go play. Go outside. Go have a good time. Yeah. Go play with your friends. Here's some toys. Go figure it out. Yeah. And it's one of those things where I get it because you can just sit around and be creative and put these contraptions together, or you can do quests and look around the world and go explore and find things that you never found before and stuff like that. So I am not as opposed to Tears of the Kingdom being up there as I used to be, because I do think that it's one of those games where if you just relax with it and take your time with it, you're going to enjoy it a lot more than I think what I did as far as just trying to grind through and see what the actual like story and end game stuff was. Exactly.
And that's the big thing that I had said is I was just playing it to beat it. I was playing the game wrong. It's as weird as that is to say, because, it's a game based on individuality and play it how you want. We were playing it to just grind through, get the stuff done so we could talk about it, but you can't really truly talk about it unless you kind of get to that level to where you're just experimenting. And then once you start to do that, it just opens up a world of possibilities and made for just a completely different game that I've fallen in love with. I'm still nowhere near on high as it is as Paul is with the game, but it's one of my favorites for sure.
I can appreciate that. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to say I'm wrong, but I think that I can understand why people feel a lot differently than I did about it. And I do think if I ever revisited it at some point, I would probably feel closer to you, like how you feel about it.
Weapon durability is still the worst thing in a game ever in that one, though.
I get that too, but that's not what ruined the game for me. I say ruined. I mean, I still have it ranked fairly high. I just didn't think it's like the greatest game ever made, like Paul did. But yeah, maybe one day I'll go back. Probably not, but All right, so this next one, this is where things get really tough because it's like I only have one choice left. I don't even have a single player game on this list. I think you can tell a trend that, like, for me, some of the most fun is like playing stuff with people. Oh yeah, some competition or some cooperation really stands out to me. I thought about including a single player game on this, and I will mention it in my honorable mentions, but I have to. There's a part of me that doesn't want to. But there's a part of me that just says I have to. And part of that is the nostalgia, because there was a time when this game was the best game in the world and our entire friend group was playing it and we were having a blast every single night. Oh, and then I hated this game. I hated this game for the longest time because it was stupid and nobody knows how to play it properly. And I got to rely on teammates that are healing me or a tank that just flies off on his own. And then we all die and it's the worst game ever. But now I'm back playing it with my kids and friends, and it's like, oh yeah, this game's really fun again. I don't feel good about this, but I have to, Ryan.
If you haven't guessed it, I'm sure you can in a second.
It's Overwatch. Yeah. It's over, and listen, I'm not proud of this one. I can't, you know, it's a little gross. There's a part of me that just kind of goes, ugh. But dude, I cannot deny the amount of just pure fun and enjoyment that I have gotten out of Overwatch over the years.
Yeah.
And it has made me rage like no other game. Overwatch is listen, I'm a nice guy, right? I mean, we talk about not being toxic in gaming and being nice to Overwatch brings out the worst in me. I cannot help myself. I admit it publicly here and now. I am a troll when it comes to Overwatch.
No.
I don't understand why. It is the only game. It is the only game in the world that does this to me, but I think it's because I have to rely on other people. And if you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it makes me miserable at the same time. And so that's like the catch. But dude, like I said, there's no other game that I have had multiple friend groups that have played. And when it's clicking, it is clicking on all cylinders. When you have a team that is playing together and people are doing what they're supposed to be doing and you are popping off and crushing the other team, or you pull out that last second victory, there's not much that compares to that in my mind. It has infinite replayability because of all the different characters and stuff like that and how the game's evolving. I'm just going to leave it there because it's Overwatch. And I know there's some people that are going like, ew, gross, Josh. Like, what are you talking about, man? But I think Rocket League is my top played game and Overwatch is probably my second most played game. And it's because it's just fun, dude. That's the whole point of this. I would not keep coming back to this game if it wasn't just fun.
What are you doing? Playing on Sega, bro? Leave the lobby. Go sell the system. Get off the game. Go outside, bro.
I told my kids the other day, I said, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not going to troll anybody. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to tell anybody to uninstall anymore. And then my kids are like, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it, Dad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's the best and the worst for me at the same time.
What are you, Ray Charles? I'm right here. Heal me. Do you not see me? Heal me.
Yeah, it's one of those love-hate relationships for sure. But I have to give it its props.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I mean it was one of those games that was a top kind of all-timer. Had that awesome not community, but just the people that got on and played, they loved the game, and so they played with passion. And you just, you know, it's one of those that some things changed, some things happened to it. But that's cool that you were able to get back on it, and now you're playing with your kids, and you found that kind of love for it again. Yeah, hopefully it keeps going, and they kind of reinvent the game. Maybe
I reserve the right in 2 months to come back and say I hate this game, and that was the worst choice I've ever made on an episode.
What was I thinking?
You know. All right, Ryan, what's your last one?
Oh man, so this was tough. When you're narrowing down a kind of a topic like this, to get to 5 is pretty tricky. I know we'll have some honorable mentions and stuff. And when you're going through it, like, I mean, I've got so many hours in Diablo 2. Would I say that that's my funnest game? You know, no. It's more misery than anything. I keep playing this hardcore and I keep dying and restarting a match or restarting a character and then just suffering through it, but I can't stop. I'm addicted. You know, so that's not what we're looking for on this subject, or I guess this topic. I'm going to go with a very, very recent game. I'm going with Astrobot, dude.
I was wondering.
I just, you said it again, like pure joy. This game was just one of those where you just smile the whole time you're playing it. Everything you do in the game, you smile, you laugh, you go, oh, you go, wow. You know, every kind of emotion up and down with there, and it's never misery. You know, even when you die, he like pops like a balloon and like deflates and goes, you know, and puffs out, and then, you know, you respawn. So it's one of those games that I know I rated it very high. It's 0.1 below Red Dead Redemption and God of War 2018 for me. Two of the best games of all time, in my opinion. So it's way, way up there. And it is one, maybe it's recency bias, maybe it's not. I think that it is one of the most fun games that you can just sit down and just have fun. That's what, if somebody asked me for that kind of interaction and that engagement, that's what I would direct them to.
It was in serious consideration for me.
Yeah.
And I kind of went, is it just recency bias? But I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
We have seen, no lie, probably at least a half a dozen people between social media and comments in our Discord server that said, I went out and bought Astrobot because you guys hyped this game up so stinking much.
Yeah.
But then they went, but you're right. This game is incredible. I'm so glad I bought it. It is an absolute blast to play. So I recency bias aside, Astrobot is just pure joy and fun to play. And I can't fault you for that at all. And honestly, I kind of agree with you, but I just, like I said, I wanted to try to say like, it's because we just got done playing it, right?
Yeah. Well, I took it so you didn't have to. So now you have another slot.
Because it does deserve to be mentioned, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, Ryan, real quick, because we've already kind of gone long. Any honorable mentions for you that were real close to your list, but didn't quite make it into the top 5?
For some kind of old school nostalgia, I had more fun than I care to admit playing WoW. Hopping on there a ton with Paul, especially when I was younger. Counter-Strike. I used to go to internet cafes and meet up after school like almost every day with friends to go play. Day Defeat, old school one. Newer stuff. I'm trying to think. I mean, even Tony Hawk was a big one.
Tony Hawk was in serious consideration for me, dude.
That's a big one for sure. I mean, I genuinely did too. It's more of a chill fun, but yes. Skyrim was one of the big ones where I would just hop on and I'd always have fun. Never a bad time, but it was kind of more of it's like
the comforting fun.
Yeah, that kind of chill, relaxed vibe. Hey, it's raining and it's kind of moody out. I'm gonna kick back and play some Skyrim type thing. But yeah, I'm sure there's a ton we missed. People are gonna freak out and let us know. So if you got more,
honestly, we love hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys missed this, and I'm like, yeah, we did. You're right.
Yep. Yeah. Some honorable mentions for me. Doom Eternal is, I tried to think of a single player game because literally every game on my list is multiplayer. Doom Eternal is perfection in a certain way. Borderlands 2, stupid fun. Didn't quite make my top 5, but that game with friends was really good. You mentioned World of Warcraft. I wasn't really into WoW, but I did put any MMO with friends.
Oh, yeah.
Because that living in that world and kind of progressing together is a lot of fun. And then Shadow of War / Shadow of Mordor, those games were just insanely fun games to play. You can pick those up for like $2 or $3 now. And we just had, I think it was Disratory that played Shadow of War, I think, and was like, dude, this game is so good, even in 2024.
Yeah.
So that's another one where it's just a really, really enjoyable time. Rust is the love-hate relationship, but man, when Rust peaks, it's so much fun, but then it's the worst thing ever too. So, but yeah, listen, Ryan, you said it. If you have games that you think are like, how did you guys not mention this?
Let us know.
Come tell us about it. Yeah. Hit us up on social media. You can tag us at Video Gamers Pod. You can hop in our Discord server and tell us how we forgot this most amazing game. The link to that is in the episode description. And, if you enjoyed this episode and you want more like it, like I said, follow the show, subscribe in your podcast app. Remember to leave us a 5-star review. It really does help. And honestly, one of the absolute best things you can do is just tell a friend, tell a gamer. If somebody says, hey, I'm looking for, this, and tell them, hey, Video Gamers Podcast, you can listen on your way to work, while you're doing chores, while you're at the gym. But it really does help get the word out as well. So one last note, if you have not played any of the games that were on my list or Ryan's list, you are missing out big time.
Oh, yeah.
Like big time, because these are some of the top, most just enjoyable games that you can play. So make sure you check those out.
Wait, did you give a 5th?
Well. Yeah.
You did 5?
Well, I did. We both had Helldivers was it. And then I did the real quick Remnant 2 thing too.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know you probably expected me to
wait,
go on
I
for
thought you were building up to give me a finale here the whole time. I'm like, man, he's drawing this out.
No, I was hitting that outro, man.
Okay, all right,
we did our job.
I'm like, man, he's going all in on this,
really building up that suspense. But but listen, thank you for sticking around with us. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. It means the world to us. And until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.